This podcast episode is brought to you by Coors Light. These days, everything is go, go, go. It's nonstop hustle all the time. Work, friends, family, expect you to be on 24/7. Well, sometimes you just need to reach for a Coors Light because it's made to chill. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged. It's as crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. It is literally made to chill. Coors Light is the one I choose when I need to unwind. So when you want to hit reset, reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light in the new look delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Right now, I assume I am somewhere in Budapest, either sleeping or possibly in a jacuzzi as you listen to this. So we wanted to give you something to listen to while I'm out of the country. So we are rerunning our 2009-2010 documentary episode about that playoff run. So take a listen and let us know what you think if you haven't heard it. And if you have heard it, of course, you have the chance to listen to it again and experience it about 9 years after it all happened. Hope you enjoy. It's the summer of 2009, and the Phoenix Suns have just come off of a 46-win, no playoff season after averaging 58 wins in the previous 4 years. The 2008-2009 season was the second with Shaquille O'Neal, Steve Kerr, Phoenix Sun general manager's biggest move of his up-and-down general management career with the team. The 2008-2009 season was also the season that Steve Kerr fired Coach Terry Porter, who was hired to be a defensive specialist and was meant to raise the team's ceiling.
Obviously, this is a very difficult day. I hired Terry because I believe in him. He's got a ton of integrity and dignity and class, and he's got a great work ethic. And I hired him because I felt he was the best man for the job. I knew this team had a difficult transition ahead of it, but frankly, I probably underestimated the difficulty of that transition. I think it's important that we look ahead as a franchise. There's a lot of basketball to be played this season. I think we can still make this a very successful season, but this was a move I think we had to make in order to give our team the best chance for success.
Now it's the summer, and Kerr is about to undo his other big move by dealing Shaquille O'Neal to team up with the King of Cleveland, LeBron James. Steve said the move would be good for the Suns as it creates cap flexibility and roster flexibility. This is not the Steve Kerr of 2018, the universally respected basketball savant. This Steve Kerr, at the time, was not very well liked by Suns fans. We saw him slowly dismantle the 7 seconds or less Mike D'Antoni best show in the West teams and grind them down to Steve Nash, one of the greatest ball handlers of all time, playing off the ball while we watched Shaq post up time and time again and seem to age right before our eyes. Cap flexibility, roster flexibility, well, great things in the NBA to a general manager. Nobody has ever purchased a jersey with cap flexibility on the back. Steve Kerr's reputation was now on the line, and the press was catching on. Here are some quotes from a Bleacher Report article from June 2009 titled, "Steve Kerr has sadly surrendered the 2009-2010 season." On the recent moves, it's unfortunate how the Suns have fallen from glory, and even more unfortunate because it's all one man's own doing. On star player Amare Stoudemire's final year of his contract. Within the coming days, Amare Stoudemire is almost certain to be dumped for cap room and garbage pieces. On the former MVP Steve Nash's player option, Nash has seemed surprisingly open about leaving the Phoenix Suns. Nash could very well opt out and become a member of the 2010 free agency class. How did a team that seemed to be on the brink of disaster make it to within one rebound and one game of the NBA Finals? Find out in today's episode of The Timeline.
I remember there was a lot of feeling just that it kind of was likely going to be the beginning of the end, because you had dealt Marion for Shaq, and then you get rid of Shaq for what amounted to really not much of anything. I mean, you got the ability to claim Ben Wallace was on your roster for a brief time, but other than that, there wasn't a lot that came out of it. And so you're looking at that roster and you go, okay, well, you've got Steve Nash, who's a year older, and Amari Stoudemire, who's 1 year away from being a free agent. And this really is the end of this era. And you've got Alvin Gentry, who's still trying to keep things together, like in the way that Mike D'Antoni ran things. And you're just hoping that there's a glimmer of success. And that was just kind of the feeling in that preseason that I remember is this is probably the end one way or another, and maybe we'll just get to see something special one last time.
That was Greg Esposito, who covered the team at the time, talking about the feeling about the team before the season began.
And Espo wasn't the only one feeling low on the Suns entering the season. Most NBA analysts felt the same way, a perfectly reasonable take given that the team had such a quiet offseason. As mentioned before, the team dumped Shaq on the Cavs for cap flexibility. In the draft, they selected Earl Clark 14th overall and Taylor Griffin 48th. Their biggest signing, Channing Frye, was on a one-year deal after the big man had his worst career year in Portland, where he averaged 4 points per game. Additionally, on the other side of things, Matt Barnes had started 40 games for Phoenix the year before, but he decided to sign with the championship-contending Orlando Magic. With the Suns losing Shaq and Barnes and only bringing in Frye and Clark to replace them, here's what former Sun Jalen Rose had to say going into the season.
Future. Yes, they brought back Steve Nash. Yes, they brought back Grant Hill. But that's not enough in the Western Conference, where you got Dallas improving. You got the Lakers. You got San Antonio. So for a team like the Phoenix Suns, who were used to winning 55, 60-plus games over a handful of seasons, don't be surprised if they're a team on the outside looking in come playoff time.
Jalen's friend Bill Simmons projected a 43-win, ninth-place finish. Sports Illustrated's Lee Jenkins was only slightly more optimistic than that, projecting an 8th seed finish. And even a panel of contributors on Bright Side of the Sun all projected 48, 46, and 41 wins respectively. The other wild card to consider here came with the announcement that Alvin Gentry would officially take over as head coach. Gentry served in an interim role the season before after the Porter firing and compiled an 18-13 record in that time. Here's Steve Kerr talking about his decision to officially promote Gentry.
Alvin is clearly the guy to give us the best chance for success going forward. He knows this team better than anybody. He's been here for the last 4.5 seasons. He knows our personnel. He knows what makes us tick. And I'm confident that we can have a successful remainder of our season. And
the team now has a coach and a roster is set. Expectations were relatively low at the time, but the roster was still deep. Let's start with the bench, or at least the players that played significant minutes. It's important to note that while these players are known as great role players and starters now, at the time, there was no reason to believe that this would be the best bench in the league. Channing Frye, the sharpshooting big man in his 5th season, was not known as a sharpshooter at the time. In Portland, he averaged 28% from 3. Keep in mind, this is before every team had a stretch big. His emergence as a 44% three-point shooter in this coming season was as surprising as it was vital to the team's success. Goran Dragic. This is Dragic's 2nd season. His first stint with the Suns, known as a young point guard with no confidence at the time. Dragic needed the right coach and the right system to take him to the next level. Leandro Barbosa, the former 6th man of the year, was still peaking during this season and brought the same speed in transition and secondary ball handling that the Suns fans were used to. Jared Dudley. The 2009-2010 season is Jared's first full season with the team, and still to this day is his best shooting season from the three-point arc. Lou Amundsen, the scrappy veteran in his 6th season, brought energy and rebounding in a limited but important role. Jaron Collins one of the Suns' many twins, a veteran, lauded for his great demeanor and locker room presence.
And now the starting lineup for your Phoenix Suns. A 6'6" guard from Michigan State University, Jason Richardson. A 7-foot center from Stanford University, Robin Lopez. A 6'8" forward from Duke University, Grant Hill. A 6'10" forward from Orlando, Florida, Amare Stoudemire. A 6'3" guard from Santa Clara University, Steve Nash.
This is a veteran starting lineup led by an unlikely all-star in a 35-year-old Steve Nash. It also includes prime Amare Stoudemire, a 27-year-old power forward, prime Jason Richardson at 29 years old, and Grant Hill, who was nearing the end of his career at 37 years old. Robin Lopez was just starting his at 21 years old. Without Lopez, the starting lineup averaged an age of 32 years old. The bench is deep, the starting lineup is old, and the expectations are low. The season is set to begin, so how did they play? Well, they played well. Very well.
Nash nails a three. There's Dudley. Boy, Dudley has really played well.
Pick and roll, Stoudemire down Main Street, elevates and detonates.
Nash, and a foul. Hill gets inside and finishes down the other end. Nice fast break for the Suns. Nash looking, rips a pass to Richardson. That's a three. And Phoenix goes up by 5, a 7-0 run.
People don't understand the pass that Steve Nash just made. Outstanding ability to see and make plays.
Up ahead, look out. Hello! Amare Stoudemire elevates and detonates.
Are you kidding me?
Devastating dunk here in Oakland.
Grant Hill on the pull-up.
You know, we talk so much, Jeff, about Steve Nash at his age, the way he's playing. Grant Hill has been playing some real strong basketball as well.
Nash behind the back, Stoudemire boos from the crowd. His 5th assist already.
No other player in the NBA. This guy is the MVP. I mean, this is incredible. You could make a highlight off just this game.
Talk again about Orlando.
The team jumped out to an incredible 14-3 start, and 7 seconds or less was back. The ball was moving, the team was running, and the fan base was rejuvenated, as Greg Esposito puts it.
It was probably the most surprising run short of that first year of Hornacek, just because you knew there were still quality guys. I mean, you still had Nash, but you knew he was past his prime, and same for Amare. But you get out to this fast start, and all of a sudden you go, this might be one of those special situations. I remember Channing Frye just started to click, and you go, okay, well, maybe this locker room is going to be one of those special locker rooms that camaraderie and being a real team is going to be able to carry them further than maybe the parts individually, but as a whole, the sum of those parts could be something special.
This team was succeeding because it featured dominant shooting that we simply hadn't seen from the Suns in a couple of years. For the first 17 games, the team was shooting a league-leading 45% from 3, up from just 38% the year before. Volume was up in addition to efficiency as the team went from 17 three-point attempts per game to over 23. By late November, the Suns simply blitzed opponent after opponent. They finished the month with 4 straight blowout wins, a 26-point win against Detroit, 15 against Memphis, 25 against Minnesota, and 21 against Toronto. After serving the Raptors a beatdown on their home floor to improve to 14-3 officially, now familiar face and then Toronto head coach Jay Triano told ESPN, quote, "It comes down to three-pointers. They're the best three-point shooting team in the league." Through all of this hot streak, Steve Nash was the dependable and efficient monster that Suns fans had come to expect. He averaged 16 points and 12 assists on 54% shooting throughout the stretch and on only 32 minutes per game, a significant step back from the 35 to 36 that he was used to during the Mike D'Antoni days. But the real catalyst here was the play from the lesser-known guys. In one of the most rapid transformations in recent NBA history, Channing Frye went from a bricklayer to a sharpshooter in one offseason. Frye, a career 29% three-point shooter coming into that year, shot 47% from downtown in the team's 14-3 stretch. He was averaging 13-6 in just under 30 minutes per game, and he had more 20-point performances in that opening month than he did in 2 full seasons with the Portland Trail Blazers. Other bench players continued to bring the spacing as well. At this point in the season, Dudley was shooting 46% from deep, Barbosa 41%, and Dragic 39%. Other teams were simply no match for the Suns' new-look bench headed into this year.
It wasn't all blowouts and fun for Suns fans, though. The team followed up their surprise October-November 14-3 start with 2 losing months in December and January. In both months, the team went 7-9, including getting blown out by 27 points against the Knicks in the first game in December, followed by another 27-point loss to the Cavs the very next day. The Suns did not win 2 games in a row until the last 2 games of December.
Oh, it was okay. Well, this kind of seems more like what we expected. It was we're coming back down to earth, and that's all right. The fast start gave you a cushion to play with, and 7-9, while not great, isn't as bad as it could have been.
Here's an interesting thing about December of 2009. This was the last time the Suns played on Christmas Day. In that Christmas Day game, the Suns blew out the Los Angeles Clippers by 31 points in LA. Who knows when the Suns will play on Christmas next? January was another rough month for the team and included an 0-4 East Coast road trip and some shooting slumps. The press is now pouncing, and the trade deadline is now approaching. Here are some titles of articles written in early 2010. Bleacher Report wrote, NBA trade rumors, where will Amare Stoudemire end up? Valley of the Suns wrote, Amare Stoudemire trade rumors. Why a Philly deal involving Iguodala would be the Suns' best bet. Bright Side of the Sun wrote the much more sensible headline titled, Making Some Sense of All the Amare Stoudemire Trade Rumors and Extension Talks. The team ended the month of January with a 29-21 record, and were on track to match the disappointing predictions given to them at the beginning of the season. Where do they go from here?
I played with Amare Stoudemire and the Phoenix Suns my last year in the NBA, and all I have to say to that team is this. Do not trade Amare. Are you kidding me? Here's a guy that's basically over 20 points, 9 rebounds, an all-star, your cornerstone to your team's future. Basically, I used to call him the LeBron James of the interior. You need to keep this guy in the fold if you're the Phoenix Suns.
The Suns ended up sticking with their guns and refused to trade Stoudemire, despite plenty of rumors about the Cavs offering up a package surrounding 21-year-old power forward J.J. Hickson. Had that trade gone down, Steve Kerr might have been laughed out of the NBA 8 years ago. And sure enough, the team caught fire once again. They went 9-3 in February, with their lone 3 losses coming against tough playoff teams in Portland, Dallas, and San Antonio. 21-year-old Robin Lopez caught fire this month, averaging 13 points and 7 rebounds per game on 59% shooting from the field. In late February, he thoroughly dominated the Clippers with a career game, posting a career-high 30 points and 12 rebounds in 37 minutes. Amare also seemed to take the trade rumors to heart because he absolutely turned it on in the second half of the season. After a slow start, he was back to his old self, averaging 26 and 10 on 56% shooting after February 1st.
With Dan, it's a nice move by Stoudemire.
Stoudemire rampaging down the lane. Pick and roll. Oh, Stoudemire! Up high, down hard. Lasering it inside to Stoudemire. Count it, and a foul.
Whenever someone slowed down, another player was there to pick it up. Jason Richardson started turning it on in March, averaging 20 points per game that month on 48% shooting from three-point range.
And, being in the league, going on my 8th year, I did all the scoring I possibly can. It's all about winning now, so I'm willing to sacrifice if it takes for us to win.
Still, this team was not without its own set of obstacles. Robin Lopez sustained a back injury in late March that would keep him out for all of April and most of the playoffs. But the Suns still finished with a 17-4 record in the final 2 months. Jaren Collins was thrust into the starting lineup for about 10 minutes per game in Lopez's absence, terrifying Suns fans with his poor finishing ability and his general lack of mobility. But that didn't stop the team from taking down 50-plus win teams like San Antonio, Denver, and Utah, all in the last couple of weeks. Above all, this team featured a cast of characters that were simply fun to follow, whether it was team videos of them singing on the bus,
all night long, all night, all night, all night long, all night, all night,
joking about Jared Dudley's amazing athletic hands.
Jared Dudley has the most athletic hands not only in the NBA, but in the history of the earth. I Wikipedia'd it, I Googled it, I did all the research. Proof is in the pudding. Most athletic hands ever.
Or whether it was just tracking down how many high fives Steve Nash averaged per game.
You kept track of how many times he touched another man's butt?
That's just what they pay me to do, Grant.
This team was connected to its fan base online in a way that most sports teams simply weren't back in 2010. Remember, this was before every athlete out there had a Twitter account. The Suns finished the season with a 54-28 record officially, and they needed every single one of those wins because the West was insanely tough. The first-seeded Lakers and eighth-seeded Thunder were separated by just 7 games. Dallas, Denver, Utah, Portland, San Antonio, OKC, these were all 50-win teams, and the general consensus was that anybody could take anybody else out in the first round. Still, NBA experts like CBS analysts Ken Berger and Jason Horowitz were now calling the Suns the hottest team in the league headed into the playoffs.
They're coming in on a high to clinch the 3 seed and home court advantage. When you look at this team, are they playing better than anybody else heading into the playoffs?
With the possible exception of Orlando. I mean, I think that's absolutely true. Certainly in the Western Conference, they're on a real roll. They're playing great. It all starts with Steve Nash, but now they have Amari Stoudemire, who's back playing at an all-star level, really a dominant player. And the Camby acquisition, Marcus Camby, in that regard, is going to be huge for Portland because otherwise they'd have nobody to keep him, out of the paint.
Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, the playoffs.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying this episode so far, whether it's your first time listening or whether you're listening to it again. Quickly, I wanted to let you know, when you're selling online, getting your orders out can be a real pain. That's why you need ShipStation.com. It's the fastest, easiest, and most affordable way to manage and ship your orders. No matter where you're selling, Amazon, Etsy, or your own website, ShipStation brings all your orders into one simple interface. ShipStation helps you get orders out quickly, save money on shipping costs, and keep your customers happy. And right now, Blue Wire listeners can try ShipStation free for 60 days when you use promo code BLUE. There's absolutely no risk. You can start your free trial without even entering your credit card info. ShipStation works with all of the major carriers, including USPS, FedEx, UPS, and even Amazon Fulfillment. So you can compare and choose the best shipping solution for you and your customer. No wonder ShipStation is the #1 choice of online sellers. You'll ship more in less time with the best rates available. Just visit ShipStation.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in BLUE. That's ShipStation.com, then enter promo code BLUE. ShipStation.com, make ship happen. And then also, just one more announcement from us. Blue Wire is teaming up with Harry's to make sure our listeners are shaving comfortably. Go to harrys.com/bluewire to save $10 on a value trial set, which includes a 5-blade razor with lubricating strip and trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel, and a travel blade cover. You get all that for just $3 shipped right to your door. Enough with the cheap razors, it's totally worth trying Harry's. Harry's is fixed shaving by combining a simple, clean design with quality and durable blades at a fair price. Harry's founders were tired of paying for razors that were overpriced and overdesigned, so Harry's bought a world-class blade factory in Germany that's been making quality blades for the past 95 years. Join the 10 million who have tried Harry's and claim your trial offer by going to harrys.com/bluewire. All of Harry's blades come with a 100% quality guarantee. If you don't love your shave, let them know and they'll give you a full refund. Again, make sure you go to harrys.com/bluewire to redeem your razor for $3. That's it for us regarding this, guys. Thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying the episode. And now, the playoffs.
Phoenix entered round 1 of the playoffs as the 3 seed matched up against the Portland Trailblazers, a 6 seed that had injury problems all year long. Portland was a team headlined by a big 3 of Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, and the number 1 pick, Greg Oden. But they entered this series with LaMarcus Aldridge being the only healthy player of those 3 potential stars. That doesn't mean that Portland is an easy out, though. They still had veteran Andre Miller and Nick Batum, players who know what it takes to win. Steve Blake, Marcus Camby, Rudy Fernandez, Travis Outlaw, Jared Bayless all rounded out this team that was deep with guys that can play, and they proved it in Game 1. Jason Richardson drew the Andre Miller assignment in Game 1, and Andre bullied him. He ended the game with 31 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals. All of that on only 1 3-point attempt. The game ended 105-100 Portland. In Phoenix, who ended the season so well, surrendered their home court advantage in Game 1, allowing Portland to be the only team to win their first game matchup on the road of the 2010 playoffs.
Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here. Today I'm going to go over the Portland-Phoenix series, Game 1. Now here you can see Jason Richardson guarding Andre Miller and Nash guarding Fernandez. This is a mistake because Jason Richardson's a terrible defender, and look what happens. Now, the real way to stop an alley-oop like this isn't to guard the guy dunking the ball. It's to put more pressure on the ball handler so he can't make an easy pass. Now, watch Jason Richardson's effort while guarding Andre Miller. It's terrible. He's not in his stance. He gets picked off here, and Miller goes right to the basket for a foul.
Games 2 and 3, Jason Richardson had enough.
Blazers 3 for 9 to start. Phoenix out running. Richardson lays it in. Now come the Suns 3-on-2, lob to Richardson from Nash. 4-point swing right there. Blazers had numbers. And you've got to look when Nash had rebound Fry. Richardson leaks out, got behind Bayless. Traveled with the ball underneath and reversed it in. Blazers had looked like they were going to charge back. They lose track of Richardson. Deal Nash to a wide open Richardson. Looking for the call, but the shot was blocked. Nash back in transition. Richardson open 3 down. Richardson going right back to work and wanted the foul as well. Got in there, got Shaq. Kind of went against what they are. Richardson cancels out any hopes of a Portland run there. Nash. Richardson on a tee.
Well, I'll tell you, he's closing his eyes 10 for 15 and just red hot. Don't get near it.
Jason absolutely went off. In Game 2, he had a game-high 29 points, and in Game 3, he had his career playoff high of 42 points. And that was in front of Portland's home crowd. And the team was clicking again. Both games were blowouts, and it seemed clear the Suns were going to take the series back after proving that the veterans had what it takes. Steve Nash ended Game 2 with 13 points and 16 assists, which would have been a playoff career high for a lesser player. The assist total was boosted by the rest of the team nailing shots at a higher clip than Game 1, shooting 40% from 3 as a team and over 50% from the field. The offense was humming, and the team scored 119 points in Game 2, while holding the Trailblazers to just 90 points. This was the team that Suns fans were waiting for, and it continued in Game 3, with 108 points scored and holding Portland to only 89 points. Everyone was filling their roles. Grant Hill and Dudley were bringing energy and defense. Channing Frye came off the bench, closed games by providing spacing for Amari to run the paint, and of course, Steve Nash was orchestrating all of it like the conductor he is.
After the regular season and being surprised kind of with the way this team came together, a game one loss wasn't all that concerning because you saw this team and the way that the camaraderie between them, and you knew that losing one game, that first game, and technically losing home court there too, it wasn't something that was going to rattle these guys because they knew not many people expected a lot from them, and they came out so well in that regular season. I think that game one loss was a little surprising, but I don't think it really was one of those where you went, oh, okay, well that's it. It's been a fun ride, but this is over. So no, you knew that they had fight in them and they were going to come back out. And games 2 and 3 showed that.
The Blazers rallied back in Game 4 and held the Suns to their worst offensive performance of the playoffs. Brandon Roy notably returned in this one, but he scored only 10 points in 26 minutes off the bench. LaMarcus Aldridge was the real threat here, torching Amari to the tune of a 31-point, 11-rebound performance. On the other side of the court, the Suns simply died by the three, where they shot only 26% from downtown. They kept the game close all the way until midway through the fourth quarter, but a few critical turnovers from Nash and a flagrant foul from Frye in the clutch handed the game over to Portland. Final score 96-87, and the series is now tied 2-2. It was a valiant effort from a banged-up Portland team, and more than enough to make the Suns and their fan base sweat. But Phoenix came out in games 5 and 6 and proved that their hot streak to close the season was no fluke. The Blazers came out with a strong opening quarter in Game 5, but the Suns bench blew the game wide open in the second, and the team never looked back. By halftime, it was a 10-point lead, and by the final buzzer, the Suns had won by 19 to take a 3-2 series lead. This was undoubtedly a bench game, as Channing Frye led the way with 20 points and 8 rebounds in 27 minutes against his former team. Dudley chipped in as well with 19 points, 5 threes, and a ridiculous team-high plus 36 on the court. Game 6 was the only Phoenix win that wasn't a blowout in this series, but it wasn't particularly close either. The Suns were up 12 by halftime and ended up winning the game 99-90, thanks to a combined 50 points from Richardson and Stoudemire. Jay Rich clearly led the way overall in this opening round, averaging 24 points and 7 rebounds on 53% shooting. The Suns move on, and every single Western Conference first-round series ends in 6 games.
The Phoenix Suns advanced and are now set to play the San Antonio Spurs. Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, George Hill, Richard Jefferson, Antonio McDyess. This was the team that Suns fans feared. To beat them would be therapeutic, exercising demons from years past, but could they pull it off?
Felt inevitable that this was going to be another crushing defeat at the hands of the Spurs in some kind of dramatic fashion that ended a storybook run for this team. It's been fun, but we know how this is going to end because Greg Popovich and the Spurs had the Suns' number.
We move to the second round of the NBA playoffs on a spectacular evening in Phoenix, Arizona. The U.S. Airways Center is filled to capacity as the 7th-seeded San Antonio Spurs take on the 3rd-seeded Phoenix Suns with the backdrop of a lot of memorable games between these two teams.
Game 1. The vaunted Spurs defense was forcing Nash, who had a hurt hip at the time, to be a scorer early in the game. But that turned out to be a mistake. Nash was hitting from everywhere, and the home crowd was loving it. Pull up from 3, right side, layup, left side, mid-range, guaranteed points from the line. Nash ended the first quarter with 17 points, and the Spurs defense was on their heels.
McDyess with a late close by Stoudemire and a rebound by Steve Nash, playing with the bad right hip. Hip and works on Hill with the left hand. He puts it up and in.
Well, good sign there by the Phoenix Suns. It looks like Nash was moving pretty well in that play. They're going to keep the pace of this game up.
Collins, a screen on Hill, opens the door for Nash, and so Doug Nash has gone to the rack 2 times.
Well, if you want to know what the defensive key is going to be in this series, it's who's going to be able to defend screen roll best.
Been watching Nash, and Steve goes again inside. He's got 3 layups in a row. Here comes Stoudemire, goes outside to Nash, working on Hill. Slides by Jefferson. Doug with ease. He's going inside. Usually it's the San Antonio guards that drive inside the lane, and Popovich has got to find some way to stop Nash from getting inside. Nash for 3. Steve Nash has been incredible on the start tonight. 11 points, 5 of 5 from the field.
8 minutes.
And here's a move inside by Steve Nash, who scoots it home and comes up with his 13th point in the first quarter.
Watch how he splits that pick and roll, Kevin. He is a master.
Nash now, seconds remain in the first quarter. Parker was there, counted for 2 and a foul.
The game opened up for the Suns once the Spurs' game plan went awry. Nash was dropping passes to everyone. Richardson was slashing, hitting threes, and the Suns ended the second quarter up by 10.
Can get out and run. A beautiful pass by Nash. That's what happens when you take a shot. You better get back against the Phoenix Suns. They're going to run on makes, they're going to run on misses, and they're going to run for 48 minutes.
The Spurs never go away. Within 4 minutes of the third quarter, the game is tied with a Tony Parker mid-range jumper. Within another minute, the Spurs take the lead with a Manu Ginobili 3, but nevertheless, Nash persisted. He never stopped penetrating, getting into the paint using screens from every side of the court. This was a 35-year-old using his best attribute, his brain. Shots were coming at the rim and from 3, Channing from the wing, J. Rich Dunk in transition, Grant Hill from mid-range, and suddenly the Suns are up by 10 at the end of the third quarter. Fourth quarter is back and forth. 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the game. Nash takes a high screen from Amari, who rolls immediately. Just as Grant Hill curls around to take the pass from Nash at the elbow, Grant immediately passes to an open Jason Richardson. At the wing for a wide open 3, and he nails it. The Suns are now up by 8 with 1 minute and 23 seconds to go, and that proved to be the final nail in the coffin. Suns win 111-102.
Well, the backlash over Arizona's new immigration law is spreading from the State House to the hardwood, the baseball diamond, and beyond. Michelle Steele has the story. Michelle.
Hey, Deidre. Yeah, last night the Phoenix Suns played basketball and politics. You know, it had to do with Arizona's controversial new immigration law. Steve Nash and his teammates wore jerseys that said Los Suns in their playoff game against San Antonio. Now, the team's owner said the team wore the jerseys to celebrate diversity. It was Cinco de Mayo, after all, and they're also protesting the new immigration bill. Now, whether the Suns or Los Suns...
Game 2.
For Game 2 of this Western Conference semifinal, featuring the 7th-seeded San Antonio Spurs and the number 3 Phoenix Suns, with Hall of Famer Doug Collins and Marty Snyder patrolling our sidelines tonight. Let's take a look at the Taco Bell starting lineups. This is Kevin Harlan, George Hill, Doug.
Early on in the game, the Spurs were on a mission to prove that this was not the same team as Game 1. Parker was on fire, making his first 4 shots of the game. Tim Duncan had 17 points in the first half, but the Suns still kept it close. Amari tied the game with only 39 seconds left in the first half with a ridiculous jam from a picture-perfect pocket pass by Steve Nash.
Pick and roll. Oh, Stoudemire! Applied down hard.
The third quarter was back and forth, but the Suns' shooting prevailed when it counted. Clutch shots from Hill from mid-range kept the Suns in the lead. Amari kept delivering with jam after jam. And despite a 29-point effort by Tim Duncan, the Suns put the Spurs away 110-102. The Suns now have a 2-game lead, partially thanks to the efforts of Jared Dudley.
And let's talk to Steve Nash. You and I talked yesterday about how this was the most important game of this series. What character came out in your team tonight, Steve?
Well, I thought we showed a lot of character. You know, Jared, I thought was player of the game. He came in and got a bunch of offensive rebounds, hustle plays. My second unit gave us a lift. I thought we came out a little bit nervous, and we got kind of passive because of that, and we hung in there, proud of my team.
Why do you think you guys were nervous to start off with?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some days it's just like that. I'm not even sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just felt like we were missing shots we make. We were rushing a little bit. We weren't quite in rhythm, so we were hurrying things when we didn't need to hurry, and it's just uncharacteristic of our team.
You win the game without this kid over here and his energy?
No way. He was huge. Played well the whole game, but especially, when we were really struggling early, he gave us a big boost with 3 kind of offensive rebounds and ones. He did a great job.
Game 3.
2 games in, the Phoenix Suns are enjoying their most commanding postseason lead in a decade over a Spurs team that sent them packing their last 4 playoff meetings. Leading 2-0, the Suns halfway to revenge, making Friday night's Game 3 in San Antonio an absolute must-win for the Spurs. Tony Parker back in the starting lineup for the first time in 2 months, replacing his replacement, George Hill, who has struggled through the first 2 games. Tony Parker not struggling at all at the beginning of this one, averaging 23 points per game the first 2 of the series. Only 10 on Friday night on 5 of 17 shooting. On the other end, Jason Richardson laying it in, 14 points in the first half for him. Matt Bowder contributing. He knocks down the 3 from the wing. Spurs led by 9 after 1. And playing some defense in this one. DeJuan Blair, the rookie, with the block, and then a little offense working on Amari Stoudemire. Take that. Puts it up and in. 35-21 at that point. The Spurs cooking with Crisco. George Hill, pull up. It's an 18-point lead. But the Suns refuse to go away. Leandro Barbosa for 3. Steve Nash not looking to Amari Stoudemire, who brings the house down. That's worth a second look. Nasty stuff there. Only 7 points on the night for Amari on 3 of 10 shooting. On the other end, it's Manu's step back. You'll take it and you'll like it. Suns still within 6 after break after trailing by 18 in this one. In the third now, it's Grant Hill, the season one. Pull up Jay, 2 of his 18 on the evening. Steve Nash, he had 16. His Jay is going to go. It's a 2-point game all of a sudden. Spurs answering. It's Manu, 3 up and 3 down, 27 in the game for him. Antonio McDyess looking like a young man. Rebound and the jam. Richardson answering back though, 3 up and 3 down. Suns, as I mentioned, just would not go away in this one. A resilient bunch. JR knocking it down once again. He had 21 points in the ball game. Suns still coming. Goran Dragic.
Chance. What a move by Dragic. Switches hands, and the Suns have their first lead of the night.
Be able to keep Barbosa from getting to the basket.
Plenty of time. Dragic puts the brakes on, stops on a dime, spins and hits.
And Dragic taking advantage of the switch. The bigger DeJuan Blair cannot stay with him. Great up fake. Goes to the right hand, and again, this time it's Parker. Jump stop, pivot.
Be aggressive. You make a couple mistakes, that's fine. Just be aggressive, all right? That's it.
Well, this is quite a second unit they've got. Dragic again. Keep being aggressive on Dragic's show here the last few minutes.
Well, again, it's the switch. Duncan's on him. Does a nice job of taking his top
3 points. And they're working as a tandem again. Dragic knocks it down. He was just looking for the foul and 3 free throws, and he hit the shot.
Are they going to give him the 3? Holy cow, what a shot.
I think they're going to check to see if it was a 2 or a 3.
That's a 3.
I think it was.
I think that's a 3. How in the world? Play, be aggressive. And sure enough, this guy's got a shot to be the hero to shoot the ball as far as he did in the first half. And here they are. Great attack of Tim Duncan. And this kid right here is the show. Right now, he's done everything. The 3-ball, jump stops in the lane, over Tim Duncan, 4-point plays. Dragic and the Suns looking to take a commanding 3-0. That means you got a heck of a bench, right? And this team has a heck of a bench to bail them out time and time again. Oh, here we go.
Their bench is going nuts. Looks like they might get blown out early. Dragic. Oh, this is unbelievable.
Great aggressive move.
That's what I'm talking about, okay? That's what I'm talking about.
Completely took apart the starting unit of the Spurs. This would be the exclamation point.
Oh, my goodness.
That's the capper right there. A sensational night for the second-year player, Goran Dragic. 26 second-half points. Phoenix, a commanding 3-0 lead. Goran Dragic, this is your night.
First of all, with all you've been through your career, tell me what it feels like to have a performance like this for the Suns against the San Antonio Spurs, a team that they've struggled with so much.
Yeah, I work hard for this moment, so I'm really happy for this, and it's great in playoffs against San Antonio. San Antonio is a great team, so I'm really happy for that.
Scoreless in the first half, exploded 26 points in the second half. What changed?
I was just talking with the coach. Coach said, don't be shy, just be aggressive and attack the basket. And in the second, third, and fourth quarter, I just did it.
That quarter that he had in San Antonio was just unbelievable. It was a storybook. You know, Goran wasn't. You know, a lot of us remember him more for that second stint that he was here and being more of a leader, but he was still Steve's backup, you know, and he comes out and he just played so well, and he was so it was just so refreshing to see finally a member of the Suns come out and rip the heart out of the Spurs, and I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that moment. As a fan, was just something that was so unbelievable, and I know how special it was for Goran and what he was able to do there.
Game 4 of this Western Conference semifinal playoff game. With Hall of Famer Doug Collins and Marty Snyder, Kevin Harlan, a look now at the Taco Bell starting lineups. The Suns bench has garnered as much praise as the Stars. Grant Hill, though, has had a terrific series so far. The Spurs, with a lot riding on Manu Ginobili's performance, will need a collective effort. Doug Collins to play another day. He's on top by 4.
Game 4 in San Antonio began, and the Spurs were playing with an urgency that we hadn't seen throughout that series. They absolutely bottled up the Phoenix offense in the first quarter, as Pop commanded his bigs to do everything in their power to hedge the screen and roll and trap Nash, forcing the ball out of his hands. It worked, and the Spurs ended the first quarter up 25-19. Nash was held to just 2 points and 1 assist. But that wouldn't last long. The bench dragged Phoenix back to a tie game in the second, and then the starters took back the lead. An 8-point surge from Channing Frye brought the Suns up to 11 in the early third quarter. Everything was going absolutely great until an all-too-familiar sight happened.
Nash is bleeding. Yep, we've seen this before.
And I can just hear the people in Phoenix, oh no, here we go again. This everything that can go wrong. We're up 7. Let's see what happens here as Nash steps in. Ooh, right there, the elbow catches him inadvertently, and Duncan with a concentration kisses it off the glass.
An inadvertent elbow from Tim Duncan caught Nash in the right eye, forcing him to leave the game and get stitches. He'd be back, but not until the fourth quarter, and that allowed San Antonio just enough time to cut their deficit to 1 point.
Yeah, again, it's another one of those. You see Steve Nash bleeding, and I think there's something about Mary in the line, "We got a bleeder!" Like, that's all I would ever hear when Steve would inevitably get hurt like that. You see it against the Spurs, and it just brings back every memory you had about the hip check and Bruce Bowen's dirty moves of sticking his feet under guys as they're coming down off jump shots, and you're just watching it and you go, no, just don't be the turning point. Don't have yet another just, awful moment. It just what felt like another dirty moment, turn into the reason the Suns can't get past the Spurs.
Entering the fourth, the score stood 72-71. Steve Nash returned in the fourth quarter on a mission.
We told you before, 12 points, a career high, a 3 by Nash. Good! Steve Nash with his first field goal since 1 minute left in the first half.
Here's Steve Nash once again getting inside, and this guy is trying to will his team to victory. His eye is swollen shut. We're talking about the heart of a champion. He may not have an NBA championship, but this is a guy right here. Look at this. The most playoff games without reaching the NBA Finals. Number one is Steve Nash.
Screen by Nash. Stoudemire hits the shot with the point guard setting the pick. That's Nash into Hill. Off the Dudley. Count it. Another great pass by Nash. Count the two. Dudley fighting inside, 15 points, and again Nash with one eye shot gets another assist. Hill picks up his third for San Antonio.
He finished the fourth with 10 points and 5 assists in the quarter, and 20 points and 9 assists in the game total. That didn't stop the Spurs from making one more run.
Hill for three. Oh, he was fouled! He was fouled! Stoudemire's got his fifth foul.
Well, they just ran a beautiful play for George Hill, and Amari Stoudemire commits a cardinal sin, fouling a three-point shooter.
But Grant Hill made 2 clutch free throws, and when the final buzzer sounded, the Suns emerged victorious. With a 107-101 victory, the Suns had swept the Spurs following 4 straight series defeats to them. In the locker room after the game, the team could finally take a quick sigh of relief.
The way we approached the game, just like I talked about, we played it just like it was the first game of the playoffs. We played it just like we had to keep our home court. Hey, now we got another series coming up. Let everybody doubt us. Let everybody doubt us. That's okay. That's fine. They've been doubting us since October. They picked us 11th in the West. That's okay. As long as everybody in here believes in what we're doing, that's the only thing that matters. Let all the other experts say whatever they want. Okay?
In the end, sweeping the Spurs, getting that proverbial monkey off your back, that 3,000-pound gorilla that you've been carrying around was something just truly special. And that's when you started to think, okay, this could be one of those teams of destiny. This could be something that really is exciting for this city. And then we realized, wait, nope, you finished with the Spurs, but now you got the Lakers, and that's a whole nother rivalry that you're going to have to overcome the demons of the past if you want to make the finals.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
this is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
It might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report, Monday afternoon in sunny California. On the line, the one man who has survived the BS Report jinx from the Phoenix Suns. He's on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Jared Dudley, congratulations on the big sweep.
Hey, man, it was big for us. Big for Phoenix today, getting that sweep, man. I'm happy I could be a part of it.
You guys kind of felt after game 2, because I happened to be in the locker room that day, it seemed like you guys were pretty confident that you could actually go into San Antonio, maybe not sweep, but definitely win a game. Were you surprised by the sweep?
I was definitely surprised, man. We were confident all along. We wanted to play the Spurs. We played well with them during the regular season. We knew playoffs would be different. But this was, we had home court advantage, and we thought up 2-0. Our mindset is we can definitely win one. We thought in the regular season we should have beat them at their place, but Jay Rich missed that one dunk. But to go in there and sweep them like we did, I don't think anyone can imagine it, but it was perfect, especially for guys like Steve and Amari.
And heading into this Spurs series, you probably, because this was your first one, but you could probably sense in Phoenix there was that feeling of, here are the Spurs, they're going to come ruin everything. Do you guys, how do you tune that out?
Well, to be honest with you, I took it as a challenge. I took it, you could definitely feel in the locker room that it was a little more tense in the sense that the guys wanted this one a lot more than most ones. You could tell Steve, I know he mentioned to me before, he's never beaten the Spurs ever in his career in playoffs. He was more serious. He was more vocal in the locker room before the games about this. And in the city, on my Twitter page, they was always telling me that, hey, do this one for me, Jerry. We've never beaten them. So we kind of just zoned out on the way, hey, man, let's go in there. Let's take care of business. We're supposed to win. We have home court advantage, and let's do what we're supposed to do, and that's what we did.
And that was the end of the season, and nothing else happened, right?
Wait.
Okay, maybe not. The Suns still had the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, but we don't want to bum you out by going into every detail of every game. But there are some worthy storylines. The Lakers won wire-to-wire games in Games 1 and 2, and they were relatively uneventful games. The only real storyline was Leandro Barbosa getting shoved to the ground and cutting his head open on a camera under the basket, the second Phoenix Sun to get stitches in the playoffs. Game 3 was much more fun for Suns fans. Nash had 15 assists, and Robin Lopez, who came back from injury in this series, was 8 for 10 in this game with 20 points. Amari Stoudemire had a great game as well, and guess what? He bled. His nose was cut open on a foul late in the third quarter. This Suns team never gave up, though. This was the year that Amari's face-up game really shined, and it was evident in this game. On mid-range shots or just beating his man off the dribble, he was relentless. A 9-1 run by Phoenix in the fourth quarter was basically the end of the game, and Suns fans got to see the team win at home in the Western Conference Finals for the first time in years. Amari Stoudemire had a ridiculous 42 points in Game 3 on 14-22 shooting and 11 rebounds. How would they fare in Game 4, the next game at home?
Game 4 of the West Finals back at U.S. Airways Center. The Suns with life after taking a crucial Game 3 to make it a 2-1 series headed into Tuesday night's action. Kobe Bryant coming off a 36-point, 11 assists, 9-rebound performance in a losing effort. Not enough to outdo Amari's monstrous 42 in Game 3. How will things turn out on Tuesday? To the highlights we go. Grant Hill knocks down the J. Andrew Bynum played only 7.5 minutes in Game 3, scored 12 points in 25 minutes on Tuesday night. Still in the first, Jason Richardson, 3 up, 3 down, ties the game at 23-all. Second quarter now, it's Goran Dragic to Lou Amundsen. He throws it down. Take a second look. Nice feed. The patient Amundsen taking it up and rocking the rim. Channing Frye was 1 of 20 in the series. Before this bucket, he had missed his last 17 tries. He was cooking in this game. So was Kobe Bryant. He knocks down the tray. 53-47 game, and there's Frye popping like fish grease. 3 of 5 from distance in the first half. 11 points, the only Sun in double figures. Kobe, the most interesting man in the world. 15 points in the first half, all in the second quarter. Amari Stoudemire making it happen, 21 on the night for him. In the third now, good ball movement from the Lakers. Kobe, once again, sinking the tray. Kobe dishing this time. Pau Gasol underneath, 2 of his 15 points. He also added 5 rebounds. Then there's Mr. Bryant again. Ooh-wee. He was crazy in this one. Kobe, again, 16 in the third, tied the game at 81 all. Then check out the pass here. Jared Dudley to Amundsen underneath. Phoenix back out by 2. Then there's Frye once again, cooking. Came out of his horrendous shooting slump. He had 4 trays, 14 points. We spot shadow here because Leandro Barbosa is just wide open. Just ridiculously wide open. He knocks it down. Dragic driving, kicking out to Dudley, who knocks in the triple. Suns bench outscored LA's 54-20 in this one. And here's Dragic showing you how. There's two of them. Just making Derek Fisher look silly. Straight out of Rucker Park was that one. Off the miss, Pau Gasol throwing it down. Suns up 6 late. A buck and a half left. 97-106, and Kobe gets it to go. Plus the foul. 38 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds. But the Suns respond. Grant Hill, the seasoned one, hits it as Phoenix evens the series at 2 games apiece. The series now shifts back to LA for Game 5 Thursday night.
Game 5, nothing really happened, right?
Hold on. Are we not going to talk about the Alvin Gentry throwing up in a trash can fried avocado moment? Okay. The best moment of the entire playoff run, where somehow it gets reported that Alvin Gentry had bad fried avocado, and that's why he throws up in a trash can on the sideline during a game live on national television. I can't imagine a moment that's more embarrassing for a human being outside of getting pantsed during a live NBA playoff game than throwing up in a trash can like that. And Alvin Gentry takes after Steve Nash in that moment and says, I don't care. I'm still coaching this team. Literally throwing up in a garbage can and yelling out plays and signals for his team. That was dedication, probably my favorite moment of that entire run, because nobody's eating a fried avocado, and it wasn't what Alvin Gentry ate, but that's what got reported, and that's what sticks in everybody's mind.
They have played 24 minutes here at Staples Center in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. Series tied at 2. And the Lakers on top 53-45 for much of the first half. Alvin Gentry feeling the effects of a deep fried avocado.
That's exactly what you get for eating avocado.
Avocados are good, but I guess the deep fried possibly
we don't need to see that.
Possibly not sitting too well.
Said he did it
with the coach.
Well, at least you know you're important when they bring you a trash can.
You're exactly right. But
okay, we have to talk about it. Game 5. This was a very close game. The entire game, back and forth. And with 3.5 seconds left, the Lakers are inbounding to Kobe Bryant.
Whatever you do, you cannot let him get his hands on this basketball. And you got to stay down and be disciplined, because you know how well he shot fakes.
Aaron Dudley defending on Bryant. Both teams are over the foul limit. Odom will throw in. Bryant comes up short. Who took that bad shot just a moment ago? The Suns are shocked. They will review it. It appeared he got it off on time. Ron Artest with the game winner for the Lakers.
How about 1 minute, what are you doing? And the next one is like, great shot. What a tough play. They did a great job of forcing Kobe Bryant to take a difficult shot, and then Ron Artest with the shot.
Artest 1 for his previous 8, including a couple that did not thrill Phil Jackson. He kept him on the floor, though. And here's another look as Bryant fires one that came up short.
Well, it felt like it was over when Ron Artest put a Kobe airball back up to take the lead at the end of the game in Game 5. And you watch that and you go, wow, the defense actually got Kobe to take a bad shot. And then all this is happening in a tenth of a second in your mind. And then all you hear in your own head is going, no! Like it was the most Suns thing ever to happen. You have a chance to go up 3-2. You have a chance to go home and close it out. It looks like you'd be on the doorstep of the NBA Finals, and you forget to box out a guy on an air ball, and he puts it back in. And that was, you knew it was done then. You knew they were not going to get up off the mat after that. That was their chance to win that series, and they blew it, quite frankly. And that was crushing because it really, so much of that playoff run that season, it felt like this was a team that was supposed to win somehow because it defied a lot of logic what they accomplished. And you just thought, well, it's just going to keep going. You put away the past. You exercised the demons that were the Spurs, and you thought, this is it. It's finally going to happen for Nash and Amari. And unfortunately, it just didn't.
For Suns fans, it felt like the end, and for all intents and purposes, it was. Despite a heroic effort from Goran Dragic in Game 6, the Lakers eliminated the Phoenix Suns and went on to win the NBA championship. This is not a reason to be sad or cry. This team defied expectations. They defeated all projections at the beginning of the season and proved to be the last run for Steve Nash, one of the greatest point guards of all time and maybe the greatest Phoenix Sun ever. This team should be celebrated, and hopefully you're celebrating it right now. Wow, that 2009-2010 team was a lot of fun to watch and something that was completely unexpected to have that fun of a season, especially after the expectations that were set for them at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, this was a really fun episode to make, Mike, and that was just such a fun team to watch. And I think it's kind of important, actually, that we made this episode at this time, not just because like it's a quiet portion in the off season right now where you can really talk about anything, but because I think this sort of has some implications today. In terms of this is the type of team that we might be seeing out of our Suns basketball not too far in the future. That might be me being a little optimistic, but I certainly don't think playoff basketball is too far away from the Suns franchise. And the last time we made the playoffs really was a special run.
More than tell every detail of the story of this season, I wanted to bring back the emotions that we felt during that time, and I really hope that those emotions return again soon with Devin Booker leading us to the Western Conference Finals and hopefully beyond. I do want to thank Greg Esposito, the great Espo, for coming on. He was so good and took a lot of time out of his day to be interviewed by us for this, so really thank you, Espo. Make sure you follow him at Espo. Listen to the Solar Panel. He's on that podcast, and of course, check out his posts on Bright Side of the Sun. Thank you guys so much. Sam, you got anything else?
Nope, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay strong, Suns fans. We're going to be good again soon one day.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Thomas Hearns. Legends, whose four-way rivalry defined one of the greatest eras in boxing history. Relive their decade of dominance in the new Showtime sports documentary, The Kings, a 4-part series premiering Sunday, June 6th, only on Showtime.